All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. We have a small one-game slate, showdown slate, kind of a unique slate. I don't think we've ever done this on this channel, so it'll be interesting here. We're kind of going to go through the lineup builder portion of it, but kind of let's start the day out. Do you think the in-season tournament has been a success?
Yeah, to my surprise, I actually thought it's been pretty good. It's more of these teams, man, that are like the Pacers and some of these teams that have guys with lower salaries, really striving to win. I've enjoyed it, man. I've enjoyed watching the teams. We haven't really had this before, so it's kind of cool to see this new tournament. So,
All right, so do you think it'd be better for the tournament if the Pacers win or if the Lakers win? I know Laker fandom would say Lakers, but
I mean,
I like the Pacers, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to see LeBron win, but at the same time, like Halliburton, like I'm a big fan of Halliburton, so I would be very happy to see him win for his team as well.
Yeah, I think the storyline's better if the Pacers win, just for next year's tournament, because like any team can win that type of thing where, you know, in the 7-game series, typically the better team's going to win, you know, like it's kind of more fun this way.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think either team, I'm going to be pretty happy winning.
Yeah, it was fun for sure. Kind of, it honestly has sucked for us though. Like content purposes, a few 2-game slates in here at weird times. This slate being a showdown slate, so definitely weird in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it. Besides the one gamer, I kind of liked the switch up for. I don't know. It was okay.
But yeah, let's actually just talk about this slate a little bit. Again, it's a 1-game slate. I'm pulling up the injury report right now. We have Jalen Smith out, Andrew Nembhard, and Gabe Vincent. We don't really care about Gabe Vincent. He's been out a bunch, but Jalen Smith's still out. I think that's something noteworthy. And then Andrew Nembhard being out, that's actually somewhat noteworthy as well because he has been getting around 15 to 20 minutes or so. Let's start there. Kind of who are you looking at to really benefit with Nembhard off the court? Is it just Halliburton getting 40, Bruce Brown still getting his typical minutes? Kind of what are your initial thoughts there?
Yeah, man. I think so. I dove into the slide a little bit earlier. I actually really like TJ McConnell here without Nembhard. He should be, obviously he backs up Halliburton the most. Like he's technically the backup, but without Nembhard, I think he should get extra minutes. And then Benedict Mathurin, I also think is a beneficiary of no Nembhard. He should also get more minutes tonight. So
Yeah.
Like those guys in particular, but yeah, I think Halliburton also looks even better.
Yeah, it's definitely a slate in which we're probably going to have to get a little bit unique in some regard. And ownership-wise, those two are not pulling in too much ownership. Now it's a little bit different. Looking at it on today's slate, I'm using the lineup builder, got captain ownership, and then we also have utility ownership. But I feel like this is a good way to show people kind of the tool as well. As you can see, roster, utility, and then captain spots. So the highest owned captain right now is going to be Halliburton. The highest owned player on the slate is also Halliburton. So kind of interesting there. But it looks like people are kind of mixing and matching their way with Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Bruce Brown. It really just seems like it's Halliburton, Turner, Buddy Hield. What are your kind of initial thoughts on those three? Are you just trying to potentially load up on those three and maybe get unique a little bit lower down, or kind of what are your initial thoughts there?
Yeah, man. So I was really high on Miles Turner last game. I just like the matchup for him against Milwaukee. Today, I'm not as high on him just because of the price increase, and I don't like the matchup as much against the Lakers and AD. So I'm probably going to be way lower on Turner. And then just for in terms of like the spend ups, I'm going to be really high on LeBron, AD, and Halliburton. I'm just kind of prioritize them in my builds.
Yeah. So we did get a question coming in just initially here. One fade, Halliburton, Braun, or AD? And he's talking about FanDuel.
Man, you can go ahead. I got to think about that one. That's a tough choice.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm probably going AD for sure. I don't know. I would almost bet on just Halliburton maybe not having as great of a game because a lot of people are going to be chasing that. I think it's a decent spot to potentially get some leverage because I think LeBron and AD, they're locked into having good. I don't want to say locked in, but like I think their likelihood of having a good game is more likely. And then Halliburton, I still think, I mean, ride the hot hand, but for this slate, for that question, I think I'd rather go LeBron AD. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so that's really tough. I love Hallie tonight, and I kind of like LeBron more than Phil as well. I think if I had to pick one to fade, I think it'd be AD, just because LeBron has been really stepping up in this end season tournament, and I think he probably puts the team on his back. So probably AD, but it's really close.
Yeah, and then I'll just try to show the model here real quick as well for FanDuel, just value-wise and just in general who it likes. So it actually does like AD a little bit better then LeBron, then Halliburton. But we can see both index wise very tight as well. So it is definitely a toss up. Ownership wise, that doesn't help at all either. So interesting there. But yeah, I think we kind of mentioned we might just go like kind of player by player, given our thoughts on it. Let's kind of start reverse then. You kind of mentioned TJ McConnell. Let's get a little bit more in depth with that because my worry with him, and I thought I'd be on him more until I looked at the minutes. Minutes wise, only 11 minutes. I mean, obviously he crushed in that, but I don't know if we can really expect him to get more minutes. Are you expecting him to get more minutes or? I mean, the data is 16 minutes here, and if he gets 16 minutes, I for sure want to be on him, both on DraftKings and FanDuel. What are your kind of thoughts on TJ McConnell?
Yeah, man. I think if we had Nimhard in, I would think he'd probably hover around those 11 minutes. But I am going to trust the model on this one. I think he should see at least a couple more minutes, if not 5 more. I think 2 to 3 at least. So even in like 14, 15 minutes, I think McConnell looks pretty solid. So I'm just kind of hoping he gets extra run.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, it is what it is. But I'm gonna kind of hope he does get extra run with no Nimhard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see, kind of next player, and let's see here. Let's sort it by projected minutes. We'll do reverse. So Max Christie, Jackson Hayes. Are you getting to any of those two?
Jackson Hayes only would get to him if I'm jamming like 3 studs.
Okay.
Probably not very much yet.
Yeah. Then Isaiah Jackson. I think this is where we can actually start maybe thinking about some plays. Only projected to get 11 minutes, but he is someone that on a bad slate like today, maybe he makes sense as someone you end up on to just jam in the studs again because in 10 minutes of play, he can get you some production. Is he anyone that you're looking at today?
Yeah, so I actually really like Jackson as well for value. I'm kind of hoping Turner gets into foul trouble, and then that would lead to Jackson naturally getting more minutes. So I still think he gets around 10 minutes either way, but kind of hoping he does get a little bit extra around here, especially if Turner gets in foul trouble. So
yeah, I don't mind that idea. That's not terrible. Let's see here. I just want to catch up on some questions as well. Albert putting the team on his back tonight. I'm honestly hoping for it. I think that'd be fun. Then the question here we have Bruce Brown or Hachimura in the captain spot so that he can pay up for studs.
Yeah, I think they're both fine. I always try to find myself like trying to get up to an MVP captain or like one of the top 3 studs captains. We've seen like more common than not like a stud captain win, but I don't hate it. If it allows you to jam in guys you like, I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, kind of my thing is that on like an NFL slate, you can sometimes get away with that showdown wise. NBA, it's the point differential is pretty vast, so typically you need those additional points. So I agree there for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, Nembhard out. We know that. McConnell. Yeah, got that. All right. So thoughts on Obi Toppin. So let's talk about him. So right now we have him projected at 26 minutes. Not pulling in too much ownership for DraftKings Flex. Value wise, not really the best play, but kind of what are your thoughts on him? Not priced too aggressively.
Yeah, man. So I personally think they're gonna between him and Aaron Neesmith, I think they're gonna want Neesmith out there more. Toppin, in terms of defense, Toppin should play around, I believe, 25 minutes. I don't know what he played last game, but I think he's fine. I just think he probably gets run off the court for defense. They're gonna need someone to guard LeBron, and we saw they've been closing with Neesmith. I don't really see that changing here once again. So
Yeah.
I'm not too high on him.
Yeah, I agree. It seemed like for a while, I guess initially when Jalen Smith was out, that maybe he would get 30 minutes or so. That might have just been a matchup thing against Miami now, where because the last 2 games, 26 and 21 minutes. So can he be productive? Sure, he's been productive. If he gets more run, could potentially break the slate, but it does feel a little bit too risky to be banking on that. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, let's continue on here, just kind of talking over each play here. Left off on Isaiah Jackson. Jared Vanderbilt, are you looking at him at all? Not getting too much ownership, only 15 projected minutes for him.
Yeah, he's fine. If you need the value, I don't hate it. I also don't love him. I'll probably just sprinkle him around 10, 15%. He's just kind of there for me.
Okay. Yeah. And then from there, we got Hachimura as well. We kind of already mentioned TJ McConnell, so passing up on him. Hachimura, Seems like an okay play. We just got asked a question about him. Are you ending up on Hachimura at all?
Yeah, Hachi out of like the forward values for the Lakers between him, Reddish, and Prince is probably my favorite.
Mhm.
I'm a big Hachi fan, so I definitely like getting to him. Probably will be overweight to the field, so yeah, I like Hachi a lot.
My question for you is, does him at his price make for a better play than someone like Isaiah Jackson, though? Because I know minutes wise, it's a little bit more risky, but I see myself getting to Isaiah Jackson much more than I do Hachimura.
Yeah, I mean Jackson, I think naturally just for cheaper, he's a way better point per minute guy when he does get minutes, as you can see through the game logs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
It's
Hachi is a
risky.
safer, yeah, Hachi is a safer floor, but Jackson definitely is the bigger upside play there for sure. That's
Yeah,
why,
it's not.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not too egregious of a price difference either. It's just enough to maybe on a showdown say where you can maybe fit in one extra better play. That's kind of
yeah.
where I'm at. But
No, I 100% agree.
I gotcha. And then so from there, now we're starting to get into some pretty decent plays, I would say. Benedict Mathurin, 21% projected on, projected at 26.4 minutes. He does almost seem to be slightly a make or break point on this slate because he's kind of priced up to the point where people aren't really wanting to play him both on FanDuel and DraftKings. And that's probably why he's coming in this low owned. But the data doesn't really like him as a play either. Is that a spot where we're just saying the data is correct? Or kind of what are your thoughts on Mathurin?
So you're gonna call me crazy. He's actually my conviction play of the slate. I absolutely love him here. I know the model isn't high on him,
Mhm.
but he shot like 15, close to 15 shot last game, and he shot like 30% from the field. I think they're gonna need his scoring against the Lakers, and I really like him tonight. Like, I think he's way under owned than what he should be. I've already taken his points and assists props on Prize Pigs. I really like
Mhm.
Benedict tonight.
Yeah, see, I don't hate it. I think the logic's definitely there. Like we're seeing Bruce Brown's pulling in a decent amount of ownership, and like Aaron Naismith is pulling in some ownership. Like Buddy Hield as well. Like it's not a bad pivot off of them at a slightly cheaper price tag because let's say one of those guys maybe doesn't hit value, specifically Buddy Hield, it's probably going to be Mathurin then. And even if let's say Halliburton struggles, it's kind of naturally Mathurin. So I don't hate that. I don't know if I would say, in my point of view, that'd be like a point of emphasis per se, but I definitely get the logic there. I don't mind it. Again, it's a small one game slate. We have to have some sort of conviction like that, so I don't mind it. From there, we mentioned Obi Toppin already. Now it gets into ugly. Like D'Angelo Russell, I really don't know what to do with him. Like it's a pace up spot. This would typically be a spot where I'd almost be okay getting to D'Angelo Russell. The issue with him, the minutes have not been there. The last three games, 22, 24, and 26 minutes. And these have been the games in which they're counting on their players. What are your thoughts on Russell on the slate?
Yeah, man. I just don't like I don't like Russell here. So they haven't been closing with him. And we really want him to get that extra extend at the end of the game. They've been loving Austin Reeves here, as they should. I think he's been kind of that go-to guy for them at the end of the game.
Mhm.
So I personally side with Reeves at similar price points. I just don't love Russell here. I'm probably going to be very underweight on Russell for me at least.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I will say he does have some GPP upside, just kind of given the matchup. I think it's one in which he should still get his shot ups, but all in all, probably a little bit too thin, especially at that price. From there, Torian Prince, 18% projected owned, 27 minutes is what we're looking at for Torian Prince. Now, I am actually curious as to his shot attempts that he's been giving up for this last few games. 9 and 6, 7. So I would say if he gives us about 7 shot attempts, potentially in play, but that feels like we're banking on that a little bit too much. Do you have any love or hate for Prince tonight?
Yeah, so Prince and Hachi, I think, are my favorite Lakers mid-tier forwards.
Okay.
Really tough to distinguish between the two. Like, I think you're flipping a coin. I think Prince, I don't know. It's really tough. Like, I'm fine just getting to both and just hoping you get the right combination.
Yeah.
That's tough for me.
Yeah. We'll try to do a couple of little weird lineup pass
Yeah.
at the end of this video, guys. It's a weird slate. And again, if you have any questions, make sure to get those in. But looking at the next play, we got Cam Reddish. Slightly appealing, I would say, on FanDuel, where he's guard forward eligible. But pulling in 19% projected ownership, 27 minutes. The issue that I've had with the Lakers, specifically for really the 2 game slates and any of the other ones prior, is that none of them have really been getting minutes or high usage rate because we've seen LeBron and AD pretty much not leave the court when the games are close. Is he someone that you like? I know you kind of mentioned Prince and Hachimura. He feels to me like a similar play. Where do you kind of rank him?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to rank him third to those two you just
Okay.
mentioned. I just, man, when they're fully healthy and LeBron and those guys are in, I don't love him here. He is a good fantasy producer, but it's just, again, really tough to prioritize him when we have cheaper guys like McConnell and Isaiah Jackson, like you mentioned earlier.
It's just so weird. And I'm wondering about these teams if, like, let's say this is kind of why I like playing these slates. It's because in the playoffs, in the distant future, this is something that we could probably get a read on for when those playoffs come around in terms of maybe players' values that we could be on. So I do like paying attention to that. He is probably someone to that point might still get 30 minutes, but he's not all too productive when he gets 30 minutes. So interesting there. Let's continue on. Now we're getting to some Aaron Naismith. I think he's certainly interesting. Small forward, power forward on FanDuel, power forward on DraftKings. Only pulling in 14% projected ownership there on DraftKings, projected at 27.6 minutes. He feels like a cheap play, and he does feel like a pretty good pivot off of any of the other Lakers players because he should be safe-ish. At the same time, it almost makes sense to try to get lucky with one of the Lakers players. What are your kind of thoughts on him?
Yeah, man. So Neesmith, like I've been up and down with him. I prefer Toppin in the last two games, just at their ownership discounts. But it on the showdown site, like I don't love either. Neesmith is mainly out there to play defense on
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, or he will be likely. So like he's not like I mean he'll hit a couple threes, down the stretch, but I just don't like his upside here. Like he's fine once again. I just think I'd rather pay down. I just love these
Yeah.
studs, man. Like I know I sound like a broken record, but um,
Yeah, it's going to happen tonight for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
To your point, like if he is going to be guarding LeBron a decent amount, 5 fouls, he got in foul trouble last game against Milwaukee, kind of a similar matchup against Miami 4 games ago, fouled out. So I think there's certainly some concern there minutes wise if he does, get into foul trouble.
yeah. No, definitely.
All right, so continuing on, you mentioned like Austin Reeves more than D'Angelo Russell. They're both similarly priced. They're both really not getting that many minutes though. Reeves is getting he's projected to get 28 minutes or so, not pulling in too much ownership. Probably safer for sure. What are your thoughts on him tonight?
Yeah, man. Reeves has just been really steady, averaging around 30 fantasy points the
Mm-hmm.
past 3 games. Kind of been that glue guy for the Lakers. If you are in that mid tier, I don't mind. Like if you fade one of LeBron or AD, I think you got to get to Reeves here. It would
Mm-hmm.
just make sense because if one of those guys is having an off game, most likely it's Reeves picking up the slack for them. So definitely prefer him to Russell, and I
Mm-hmm.
think he makes a ton of sense in the mid tier.
What is the potential for if this game is a blowout? Either way, are we still going to see like the typical players that get minutes get their minutes like we've kind of seen so far in the in-season tournament?
Yeah, I gotta imagine even if they are blowing them out a little bit, I think they're gonna keep LeBron in just a little bit longer
Mhm.
than what they typically would, just because it's the end season tournament.
Yeah,
So
NBA wants that too.
yeah, exactly, and especially Reeves, like I think he probably gets a couple more minutes than what he'd usually get in a blowout.
I gotcha. So we do have some more questions coming in statements. So just kind of touch on those and we'll get back into it. So McConnell not closing. I mean, most likely not, unless he's super hot. He's not going to close there. So yeah, we're not saying that, but 16 minutes. He's a strong point per minute player. We got someone saying they like Austin Reeves tonight. All right, here's the first real big question: Buddy Hield and Matherin or Turner and Isaiah Jackson?
Hmm, that's tough. I feel like I want to max one of Turner and Jackson in terms of one lineup, so I think I'm gonna go with Hield and Mather in there.
Okay. I would say it's kind of weird to have Turner and Jackson in the same lineup together. That's kind of my concern because if Turner gets into foul trouble, it's probably going to be Jackson picking up some runs. So
I agree.
that, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of the issue here. So Jake's saying he can't play Reeves at that price tag. It does feel like a slate in which we're probably trying to get lucky with a value or two, and then really just trying to jam in the studs. Again, we're probably going to show you guys a couple of different, kind of different variations for the slate. But let's go ahead and continue on here. If you guys have more questions, we'll be happy to answer those as they come in. Buddy Hield, though. So at 7-2, pulling in 31% projected ownership, it seems like he is the mid-tier play that everyone's kind of trying to get to. Projected to get 29 minutes. He feels like he's been safe over the last 2 games. Is he someone you like?
Yeah, man. So if you're only playing two out of the 3, studs, I think getting to this mid tier is a very good approach. Heald, Reeves, Matherin, all these guys in the mid tier, I really like. If you are going fading a stud, so I mean, I think he makes sense tonight. I think he does get a slight bump with a very slight bump with no Nemhard on the court. So I think he
Yeah.
looks fine. So
I do too. Like just the minutes, if they're ever in question, they should just be a little bit more solidified for this game, I would say. He does feel safe, but at the same time, like to your point, probably tough to get to. I'd be fine ending up on him though. And then from there, we got Miles Turner, projected to get 30 minutes. And guys, we're kind of doing it this way because it's really top heavy for the minutes. Like it's clear you want to get to LeBron, AD, Halliburton. From there, it's kind of a question mark. But to me, Turner, it's weird. He's pulling in 40% projected ownership on DraftKings. I feel like that is tough to get to for me, given kind of the nature of the showdown slate. Projected to get 30 minutes. I mean, he is crushed, right? He is definitely crushed. To me, I would rather almost bank on him getting into foul trouble and be at Jackson. What are your kind of thoughts there, though? Because the issue with him has always been how many minutes will he get? Well, he has finally been getting those minutes.
yeah, man, you just said the foul trouble, and then we got to account that he had an amazing matchup. He's always crushed Brook Lopez in the past, and it just wasn't a good spot for the Milwaukee to guard him. I just think here with the price bump, I just see ways he gets left out of the opti very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't get in like the extra 5 minutes run like he did in the past games, like he's definitely not paying off that price bump.
So when I do like NFL like showdown content, I kind of have a George Kittle rule where it's like, all right, it doesn't make sense to really play him in the flex because with George Kittle, he typically either like goes off on a slate and really pays off for you, and you'd rather just be on him in the captain spot than the flex because he's priced a little bit cheaply. I feel like that could apply to Miles Turner tonight for this slate because like if he does crush and really meet this price point, like I think it makes more sense to be on him in the captain spot because the points that he occurs will be able to make up the price difference between like LeBron, AD, and Halliburton. Whereas if you have him in your flex and he goes off, I don't think that's going to reward you as much because then you're sacrificing the rest of your builds. What is your thought on that? Something like that?
I'm right there with you. Like if we're playing Turner, we want a ceiling game here. We're not playing for 35 because we're going to need more than that, I think, at his price. So I'm right there with you. I like the Kittle call too.
Yeah, he's been a little bit too consistent though this year. I'm like, gotta change it. I don't like it. Maybe it'll become the Miles Turner rule for him. And then Bruce Brown. So Bruce Brown is not pulling in that much ownership. The appealing thing for DraftKings is you can play him at the guard or forward position. Doesn't feel that cheap. I mean, he's pulling in 27% projected ownership, probably due to the projected minutes being at 33. I would like this is the spot where I have no clue what I want to do with Bruce Brown. So love to hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of right there with you. I was very heavy on him last game, and he let me down big time against Milwaukee. So it's like I was all in on him last night. Like I think he's fine. It's just he's one of those guys where he's like, if you get to him, I'm fine with it, but I'm not gonna like prioritize him today. He's just in a weird price point for me. It's really tough to get to him.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pricing. Like, I don't get why he's that much more than really Matherin or Naismith. Heck, even I hate to keep saying Jackson, but even Jackson, like, I don't know. It should be a little bit more level to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. It seems Bruce just seems a little bit too high on a showdown slate price point for me.
All right, so now buckle up. We're getting into studs. So we've already had a couple of questions saying like, all right, which ones do you want to be on the most? Obviously, we want to be on all of them. I don't really think there's a big take here as to which one we shouldn't be on. Which one do you want to be on the most, though? I can already tell you my answer is going to be different than yours.
Okay. I think for me, I think it has to be Halliburton, man. Like, I see him going out here and trying his hardest to win. Even if he gets double teamed or pressured, I think he's going to be getting assists. So for me, it's going to be Halliburton. I just love him tonight. But how about you?
For me, it's AD. I like the price discount. He's just been crushing, and let's say the game's close, like it's projected to be. He's been getting 39 and 37 minutes in those two similar games. I just like the price discount. I think he's going to put up similar production to those other two, if not have a higher game. So I don't know. I like the slight price discount, but obviously, I don't think we can be. I mean, we can be wrong, but there isn't a wrong answer at pre-lock time. So definitely interesting.
I love 82. I mean, it's a great matchup for both studs for the Lakers. So,
all right, so we'll get into some more questions here, guys, and then we'll kind of just show you some weird dummy builds. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a first look. It's just like, how can you make whichever lineup path you like the most work? But let's get into some more questions here. Hachimura or Aaron Naismith?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Rui. I just like Rui's upside more than Neesmith. I just don't see Neesmith having a big ceiling here when he's playing defense on LeBron.
Yeah, I probably agree with that as well. I don't think more further takes. So let's go here. So we got a lineup here. I think. No, this can't be a lineup. Okay, never mind. Which one?
Yeah, which one? I think it's.
I mean, they're all different prices. That's a. Which one is ranked the best? I'm just going to sort by O of index real quick. I think it's. I don't want to guess.
To answer his question, I'm getting to a ton of McConnell and a ton of Isaiah Jackson. If that helps, I don't know if that helps.
Okay,
but that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I like Jackson just as price tag. Yeah. What easier? 80 Halburn, Reeves, Healed on FanDuel and Hachi. That seems solid. It seems like a fair and balanced build there.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then so we got some more. Let's see here. Which player would produce higher fantasy points, Reeves or Buddy? I would say Buddy, given the minutes that he's going to get, should be leading to him having a slightly higher ceiling tonight.
That is so close. I think they probably project. We don't have projections, but I gotta imagine they're within 1 or 2 points of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say.
Let's see.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say Buddy by like 1 point though. Really close.
Yeah. So looking at just by the OF index, it does like Buddy like a lot more actually. 8.1 to 6.4. So
okay. There you go. Perfect.
Slightly better. Yeah. Let's see here. AD LeBron for 15K or Halburn for 17K. I mean, again, I think that we just kind of answered this. I think AD, you like Halburn more, right?
Yeah. The only thing is I've been kind of talking about DraftKings. FanDuel,
yeah.
If he's 2K more, if that's true, I may like AD and LeBron more in terms of chaining them.
Yeah, let's just kind of pivot into a little bit more FanDuel here because I'm looking at the pricing. LeBron's the cheapest of the three, and he's cheaper than Halliburton by 2K, and AD's 15.5. So, and like LeBron's a little bit lower owned. I would actually, for FanDuel, I would say I like LeBron the most then, personally.
Definitely. I mean, if he's the lowest owned stud.
Sorry. No. I was looking, it's DK Flex. I apologize, but my bad.
Okay. I mean, I still like LeBron too, so.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. I love the questions, guys. Isaiah Jackson, FanDuel. Yeah, we'll get into that. Maybe not a FanDuel build. It's difficult to pull up FanDuel for content purposes. It's just they don't have it set up that way like DraftKings does, just as an FYI. How do we feel about Vanderbilt, McConnell, and Wood tonight? We didn't even mention Christian Wood. Is he not even projected to get 10 minutes? I know that's the threshold. We can talk about him. Christian Wood tonight. I would love for Christian Wood to get minutes, but he just hasn't been.
Yeah, man, he did see a lot of run last game, but we got to remember that was a massive blowout. So as long as this game doesn't blow out, I don't think we should see more than like 5 minutes from Christian Wood here. So yeah, I don't know. I probably won't get to too much. I think I'd rather just take a stab at Hayes if we're already paying down that low.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the cheap pricing because we know Hayes will probably get some sort of run, right? That's kind of what you're saying. That makes sense. And like McConnell, like he's probably just the play, hoping that those 16 projected minutes that we have him for is correct. But let's try to make a dummy build here on DraftKings here. I think we both kind of said we're just going to end up on just for now, for example purposes, like Jackson, then we can maybe pay up from there, right?
Yeah, no, definitely one of McConnell or Jackson for sure.
I want to see if we can fit Halliburton, LeBron, and AD in the utility spot, and then see if there's a way to do a flex or a captain. I don't think it's going to be possible, but I'm just kind of curious. 5.7 left over. Honestly, I'd probably put like McConnell in the captain spot there, hoping that he does get 17 minutes, because if he does, he could go off. And again, this is an ugly build, and then you're just filling in with whichever one. So it is possible, is kind of my point here. But where would you start? Would you want to go Halliburton in the captain spot?
I mean, if we could fit him, yeah. I was building myself. Like, if you throw Hallie, like, it's really tough to jam. I don't even know if you can jam all three and feel good about it. So,
well, let's see. Jackson, and then probably McConnell again. Maybe just Hayes. It works. Yeah. Hayes gets 5 points. It does work.
We've seen builds where like a 0, like it's been at the top of the leaderboard, so it's not like out of the realm possibilities. Like if you even got 5 and all the rest of your guys like crushed, I think it could be optimal. I don't know.
It's not egregiously bad. It's really not for this slate, because again, we went through the mid tiers. Like, who do you really want to end up on the mid tier? Like for me, it's Turner and Hield. Really, what about you?
For me, I'm going to be really heavy on Mathurin just for ownership purposes, but that's just me. I'm getting to like some captain as well. I know it sounds crazy, but if he gets us 27, 28 at the in the as like a regular points, and then if you get that in the captain and then James studs, like I don't hate that either. So,
I would say that's not too crazy. Like we haven't really seen this game before. Like, we have these backups playing for money that they'll probably never make again in their life. I mean, maybe next year, but I don't hate that. Like, we could see someone random get hot and just dominate.
Yeah.
Who was it 2 years ago? Bryn Forbes, where he outplayed Jimmy Butler in like game 4 to like, or he outplayed him in the whole series. Like, random little stupid things like that can happen in a game, especially tonight. It feels like.
I mean, it's showdown. Like, anything can happen. Like, that's the best part about it. It's just like, if you even get this player that no one wants to play and he shoots good and you're golden. Like, I mean, that's all it takes. So, yeah, I don't know. I know no one's on him, but he's kind of my conviction play.
I don't mind it. I do want to try it with AD in the captain and then Halliburton. Not too much. I mean, $500 difference there. Or no, sorry. Yeah, about $500 difference. Not too crazy. I mean, we're still getting Jackson Hayes regardless. But let's kind of switch it up. I do want to see, who would you want to fade the most? Because I want to do one with Miles Turner in the captain spot. Would it be AD, LeBron, or Halliburton? I would say if we're playing Turner in the captain spot, would it make sense to fade Halliburton, or do they correlate pretty well together?
I think they correlate. Yeah. Really well. We saw last game, like if Turner's going off, it's because Hallie's feeding him the ball.
Yeah.
So let's fade one LeBron or AD, whoever you prefer.
And then I don't mind this. So we got Turner, LeBron, I fade AD. Then we got Halliburton, Jackson, McConnell, and Mathurin. And so I don't like that. I keep, like, it seems like we're recommending Jackson and McConnell. I don't want to make it seem like that. We're just showing you guys examples here of how it could work.
I mean, we could try to take out one of Jackson and McConnell. Maybe we take out one and see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, 3.8 left over. I mean, it doesn't really make a big difference. Yeah. I will say, I do think there's a path. Like, you kind of like Mathurin in the captain spot. I'm perfectly fine with that. We can show that as well.
Yeah.
Again, low ownership stuff here for a play like this, but then you're kind of opening up the slate. You can get to AD, 3.6 left over. You're still probably going McConnell, but it does allow you to fit in the 3 studs in there then. So it's not a terrible route.
Yeah, man. I just think, if we get 28 to 30 out of Mathurin and those studs go off, I think that's a very, very sneaky way to approach it, especially at low ownership for Mathurin.
And then I do want to try one with Buddy Hield. Just looking at the OF index, he's like the 5th best in the OF index, and looking at pricing, it could be a way to go. Like, it's pretty ugly. We can see there's a big drop off. It's the top 3 studs, maybe Miles Turner, and then Buddy Hield. But I do want to try that just because the model kind of likes it, and we haven't ended up on him. It is tough to end up on him, but let's just see here.
Could we try to build with? We mentioned we like Reeves and Heald in the mid-tier. Like if we
Mhm.
go fade one of the studs up top and then jam Heald and Reeves and then see where we can go from there.
Yeah, so I would say this is one where we could actually fade Halliburton if we're playing Heald in the captain spot. I would say him going off would mean that Halliburton's not having a ceiling game. So then we could probably go Reeves. And then we have 5.2. Then we have Matherin. So that actually works out pretty good
Yeah,
there.
I like that a lot.
And then again, like if we are not playing Turner, I think it does make sense to have some of, I'd say, a Jackson, but also, would you like Aaron Naismith a little bit there as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Neesmith. Definitely don't
Mhm.
want him in the captain, but I
No,
think he
no.
could be. Yeah, I think he'd be fine in the utility.
Uh, yeah, it's just such a unique slate for sure. I just kind of took Matherin out and then put McConnell. I mean, there's just so many ways to make some sort of logical build, but it's
Mhm.
definitely a fun slate. Um, yeah, let's see if we have any more questions in here, and then we probably have I don't know a few more minutes, but happy to answer some questions as they come in here. Let's see. So I just pulled up one. Actually gets hot and helps slow down Halburn. Ends up on the winner. I mean, hey, honestly, that's the stuff that you need to do. You need to kind of game script like that. Max Christie, 3K. I mean, not horrible. I really don't mind that.
Yeah, he's not awful. 3K is a little bit steep of a price point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't love it, don't hate it. If you land on him, I wouldn't necessarily rebuild, but he's okay for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the game log here. 17 minutes in the blowout. I think that makes sense. 8 against Phoenix. That's probably what is expected. And then 29 against Houston, 21 against OKC. Like, I mean, I guess there's a path. I mean, we're kind of saying Jackson's a good point per minute player, but let's say Christie does get random run. Not terrible. Again, you got to be unique tonight.
Yeah, no, and I think you could already be unique enough by playing Max Christie alone. So
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm new. Well, welcoming Gregory there. Any thoughts on TJ McConnell in utility, good or bad? I'll give my take on it. I would say I honestly think it's bad, but given the fact that we have him projected to get 16 minutes and he's not coming in as too chalky, I would say because of that, I'm perfectly fine hanging up on him. I'm perfectly fine betting on those minutes because we can see he's just a stud in a point per minute stance. So if he does get 16 minutes, I want to be on him.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I like TJ a lot.
All right. Will AD captain be too popular? Well, let's refresh the data. But I don't know. I mean, they're all going to be popular, right? I mean, the data says it's a push right now between those three.
All three should be popular. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Captain ownership goes Halliburton, AD, LeBron, Turner, D'Lo, and then Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I think it's warranted, right? Like Hallie's shown probably the biggest ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
AD's pretty steady, and then LeBron can go off, but he's been more inconsistent. So I think it all makes sense.
Starting lineups are out. All right. Well, I'm actually going to take a peek on my end. I won't show that on the screen here, but let's take a peek. Just make sure we're not missing anything. Once again, it's a one-game slate. We can talk through this stuff. No surprises. So we got Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown, Toppin, Miles Turner for Indy, for the Lakers, Russell, Reddish, Prince, LeBron, AD.
Yeah. Yeah, I think normal starters. Toppin's been starting and not closing. I think we can expect that probably once again with Neesmith guarding LeBron.
And then let's just kind of sort by DK flex ownership. Really no shocks there. I mean, it goes how you would probably expect. Maybe Russell, I would say, is a little bit too high on. Who's your kind of surprise here? Goes Halliburton, AD, LeBron, Turner, Hield, Russell, Brown, Toppin, Matherin, Reeves. And then it just kind of continues down in the way you'd expect it to.
Who do I think is like should be higher owned? Is that what you're saying?
Both ways. Who might be a little bit too high? Like Russell, to me, I don't really get the 30% projected ownership for the flex. I feel like he should be a little bit lower owned. But I kind of want your thoughts both ways for that.
Yeah, I think definitely these mid tier guys with Reeves and Hield definitely seem a little bit under owned in terms of what they can do. So I think both those guys are a little bit under owned. And then everyone else seems about right. You mentioned Russell. I think he's way over owned. Yeah, I just don't see him closing here. And if he does, it is what it is. But they just haven't been closing with him. So
Yeah, that's rough. McConnell's starting to pull in a little bit more ownership, but not too bad. Isaiah Jackson still 10%. So again, like 11 minutes, we're really trying to get lucky there. It's just that slate. I think. I mean, what are we expecting from Halliburton, AD, LeBron? Like to me, I'm honestly expecting 50 from LeBron, 50 from AD, and probably 55 from both of those two, and probably I don't know. I'm not as high on Halliburton as you, but let's just say 50 to 60, right?
Yeah,
Fantasy points.
I think
And
Cole should be good for 50 plus.
And then those other ancillary players, that's why I don't think it makes sense to sacrifice that because let's say you do a Miles Turner, I don't know, Torian Prince combo. I don't think that that's going to make up for the points that LeBron or AD are going to score.
Yeah, man, and like in a regular season game, they wouldn't max out LeBron's minutes, but in the championship game of in-season tournament, these guys are going to be out there as much as they can. LeBron and AD and Halliburton, like they're going to be playing most, if not all, the game here. So
Well, and with Nebart out as well, like there's just no one to really take those minutes. I mean, McConnell, but we just haven't seen that. So like the projected minutes that we have him for 39 for all those three, it's they're basically not leaving the court, which is crazy. Let's see here. Same ownership for FanDuel for MVP. I'm not sure it's pulling in. I might be looking at it wrong, but I'm not seeing any ownership projections for FanDuel. And again, I might be looking at it wrong. I'm not entirely sure. Do you know by chance?
let me look real quick.
Again, we typically don't have these showdown builds. Like this is my first time doing the showdown video on this channel. So
we can look at FanDuel value. Well, FanDuel value has all three studs, 1, 2, 3. So that's not really helping. But I mean, it's warranted, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't see why you should get away from that. At least for me, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of pulled up the builder here, and so what it's showing value wise as well. Still same thing. I mean, AD, star, MVP. That's kind of the best play it's saying. Then LeBron, then Halliburton, then Healed, which is kind of different from DraftKings. So, but I mean, that kind of makes sense.
I think the extra 1,500, 2,000 on FanDuel, I think the model sees that too. That's why they're ranking LeBron and AD better at point per dollar, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does as well. I mean, I would say the most likely, again, just to kind of my thoughts, I would say the most likely outcome is the Lakers find a way to hinder production for Halliburton, which would then mean both AD and LeBron have a good game. I don't know a way you could script it the other way where I think LeBron and AD having a random bad game is certainly there, but I do think it'll be more random than something that occurs due to the game plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. And like we know LeBron, they're in a great matchup here, and we know they're going to be playing a ton. So I just think there's more ways than not that Hallie gets left out on FanDuel.
Yeah. So you mentioned that kind of the game total. It's funny. I think the last two games for the Pacers have been extremely high game totals, and this one is as well. I think it was in that like 240. Do you think it's going to get there? Because the last two games, I don't think they got to. I don't even think it was even close. I'm kind of curious your thoughts there.
Yeah, man. Like I want to like trust Vegas, but like they haven't been hitting the total. But Indiana's like really, really bad on defense. I'm not sure the Lakers pace, but I think they're like in the mid tier in the pace. So I don't know. Like I don't know if I'd bet the over, but I think it's definitely going to be close to that number for sure.
Yeah, I was just kind of interested there, but it's a close game, not too much live movement. But I think that's pretty much it. We don't have a Discord right tonight because it's one game slate. And
We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. If you guys have any more questions in here real quick, we'll answer them. And then, we'll be out of here shortly. So let's see here. We got someone doing math one captain. All right.
That's my man right there.
Being the 1%, it's going to be you and ED. I can't see the name. It's too small on my screen. But yes. Let's see here. Christie or Vanderbilt?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to say Vanderbilt, but like, I don't know. It's really tough. How about you?
I'm looking at the model. I'm going to default to that. It likes Vanderbilt a little bit more. I'm actually curious about FanDuel. Let's see. FanDuel, the data actually hates Vanderbilt for what it's worth. So, I mean, still like him a little bit more there. So both Vanderbilt for both of them. But that's kind of interesting. We didn't really show the FanDuel value. Vanderbilt firmly in play on DraftKings, not really in play on FanDuel, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know.
Thanks for doing the live show. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, so that's almost it. I think we got a couple more here. First time watching, great job. Appreciate it, guys. Really do. Yeah, we go live every single slate pretty much, unless it's a weird outlier slate. But we're also in the Discord chat 30 minutes before lock on a normal slate as well. So you guys can jump in there after the video is done, typically 30 minutes before lineup lock. Yeah, a lot of people saying thanks. So yeah, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll give our closing thoughts and then we'll be getting out of here. So Jayhawk, what are your closing thoughts for this slate?
Yeah, man, excited to watch this game tonight. And I'm going to say Lakers get the job done late. I think LeBron hits a clutch shot. I think he wins the game for the Lakers. And I will be way over on Mathurin. That's kind of, once again, conviction play. I know I've said it multiple times. I'm either going to look like a stupid or a genius. So we'll see.
No, I think it does take conviction on tonight's slate. So whether you guys like Mathurin or not, if you have a conviction play that you like as well, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of nailed the lineup process for today's slate. It's kind of fun. Let's have more one game showdown slates. Let's go.
Yeah, man, it's definitely good for a switch up.
It is. It was refreshing for sure. But yeah, that's going to be all, guys. Make sure to like the video. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that as well. Appreciate you guys being here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Good luck tonight.